a lot of the respiration that happens in the winter months when they're underwater actually happens through their cloaca, which is like an opening for waste excretion and mating.
They breathe through their butt.
Kind of, yes.
Hi, I'm Dave from On the Kennebec, and we're here with Dr. Matthew Chatfield from UMaine, and he is going to be giving a Lyceum lecture hosted by the Kennebec Land Trust on the natural history and conservation of wood turtles in Maine. And so wood turtles are really interesting, but Matt, just right off the bat, it's March 4th. Where are the wood turtles now?
Yeah. Thanks, Dave. The wood turtles are actually fast asleep underwater in the streams where they spend the entire winter. So they're pretty dormant at this place under the ice.
So they're under the ice. Like, do they breathe? I
Uh,
mean,
yes, they do. This is actually quite interesting. They do breathe. Their metabolism slows way down, so they don't take a breath very often. But this is one species of turtles that uses a process known as cloacal breathing. So a lot of the respiration that happens in the winter months when they're underwater actually happens through their cloaca, which is like an opening for waste excretion and mating.
they breathe through their butt.
Kind of, yes.
I'm sorry. I mean, put it in colloquial terms, but that is fascinating. And so, all right. And so these wood turtles, you were saying some of the things that are fascinating about them. What is unique about these things?
Yeah, so there's so many fascinating sort of natural history and ecological facets to wood turtles. One of my favorite is that they're one of the relatively few turtles that has a seasonal migration. So they overwinter in medium to large streams, and then they migrate sort of late spring into the uplands, into those terrestrial habitats where they lay eggs if they're a female, or they spend the summer foraging, and then in the fall they move back to their overwintering areas to breed and then to overwinter.
So that's real interesting. And where do I find these things? I mean, I've got a lake. I obviously we do things with the Kennebec. So between the big river and the lake, are they by streams? Are they by lakes? Where are they?
Yeah, so wood turtles are riverine riparian specialists, which means that they like to spend most of the time in and around medium to large stream systems in Maine, and they're found statewide.
So cool. So we and they're where do they fit ecologically? Like we always talk, about the importance of the system. And I mean, we didn't talk about this before. I'm throwing this out at you, but
Uh-huh.
where do they fit? Why are they important? Because everything has got its place, right?
Yeah. So in some areas, they can reach pretty high numbers. So they probably do have pretty important ecological roles in the environment. Um, they will move nutrients from aquatic systems into the uplands and then back again because they do migrate between these two habitat types. They're dietary generalists, so they'll eat plants and fruits and berries and that sort of thing. They'll eat fungi, they eat leaves, but then they also eat snails and slugs. Sometimes they'll even take carrion or other dead animals that they can scavenge. They're true dietary generalists.
And do they have natural predators?
They do. So an adult will really not have very many. Otters have been known to take adult turtles. Hatchlings, kind of like nature's popcorn. There's a lot of different things that'll take a hatchling wood turtle, just like other baby animals. Everything from large birds to like foxes or coyotes, skunks. They've all been known to predate nests and hatchlings.
Okay, we want to save something for your presentation, which is March 13th in Hallowell in the City Hall from 6 to 7:30. I've just been listening. I've been interested. Is the one last question? I don't want to ruin everything. Leave something for the presentation, but I just want to know. You mentioned the hatchlings. Where do they nest? When do these things hatch?
Yeah, so wood turtles nest in streamside areas where there's lots of sand or gravel deposits like sandbars. They're also known to nest in some human-created habitats like gravel pits or sand pits. It really varies. They've even been known to nest in sort of gardens and agricultural fields where there's tilled soil. Hatching usually happens late summer, early fall, like other turtle species, will also hatch about that time.
Okay, so they like September in Maine too. Uh,
Sure.
best time of year. So, Matthew, in addition to being a professor at UMaine, you have a couple projects you work on. What are you want to share a little bit about? Give a plug for something you're working on.
Sure. Most of my time now, most of my research time and research effort focuses on the Maine wood turtle project. So I put a lot of time and effort, as do other members of my lab, like graduate and undergraduate students. And so the Chatfield lab is growing and pretty well established in our research that we conduct on wood turtles.
Great, and we got links to that, and I hope people go and support that. And we want to thank the Kennebec Land Trust for supporting the Lyceum lecture series and facilitating that. And I think it'll be a great presentation. And I hope a lot of folks in the area around Hallowell show up. And so thank you for joining us and sharing some interesting facts about wood turtles.
Great. Thank you, Dave. My pleasure.